I'm Roshni Jacob from National School of Journalism, Bangalore. What happened this New Year's in Bangalore was a very shameful incident where many women on the streets of MG Road were groped and molested. But what has the government done and what are the actions that have been taken? We will be discussing this and more. So to start off the topic, I would like to give it to Ayan.
Yeah, so I personally feel there are too many wheels in this incident. And to begin with, the tendency of a layman to pawn it off to education and culture. We often hear people say that the men who are doing this are uneducated, uncultured. Okay, fine. Culture, education, of course, plays an important role in upbringing too, to a certain extent. But somewhere down the line, there's something inherently wrong with that argument because you are essentially absolving the perpetrator of an agency. You might even end up saying that what he did was not bad. I mean, sorry, beg your pardon. What he as a person isn't bad. What he's doing is bad, which is not the case. You can't possibly separate the offense from the offender. So I think the first step towards nipping the issue in the bud, so to speak, is to understand that such people do exist and do exist despite the upbringing that they have. And we need a very holistic view of it, and we cannot possibly isolate the incident and the person involved. So, I mean, that's what I personally feel.
Let us accept that acts of sexual harassment does not happen in a vacuum. What we saw in Bangalore was perpetuated by a sentiment aided and abetted by each one of us. All of us, we all have been brought up thinking that we should not be out at night. And that sentiment is not very different from that of the molester who also believes that women have no business being out at night. The very street we roam in the morning suddenly becomes dangerous post 8 p.m. Why is that?
But I think every woman should up their defense game. They should have defended themselves. That's what I think. I mean...
Why does it always have to be that a woman has to defend herself? Why don't we spend that money on making or educating those men by telling them that they are wrong? And we don't have, do men take defense classes? Do men have to, do men have to feel unsafe when they go out after 8 o'clock? No. Why does a woman have to feel so unsafe? Why does she have to take precautions for herself? Instead, we can teach our men to tell them that it's wrong. The main problem is that the men are brought up thinking that, it's okay, I'm a man, it's fine. As a man, it's okay to do that. And also on Twitter, guys are going out saying that not all men are doing this, but, women are coming back and saying, okay, fine, maybe not all men are doing this, and there's nothing to be proud about that. If you're not doing it, it's just normal. You don't have to be proud and say, hey, I'm not doing it, I'm not like that guy, I'm not a molester, so, give me a medal, do you deserve a medal? You don't do that. It's just a normal thing, and you don't have to be proud about it. And also women are going back saying, okay, fine, maybe not all men, but all women have been looked at in a wrong way or have been molested or have been groped at some point of their life.
And also the fact that police didn't immediately act upon it, they all waited for evidence. They could have acted suo moto in their own motion to immediately retaliate the thing and stop it even further, even though the number of police were manpower was very little, but still they could have just, acted immediately upon it and not wait for the women to come out in open and tell, yes, I was molested. I'm sure that all of us at some point in our lives have been molested as a woman, but not all of us are brave enough to come front. So police should have acted immediately and not waited for the evidence.
Yeah, I agree, and said the police clearly did not come out. There are 45 cameras. They have evidence, but they're not working on this basis. They're still blaming, the government is trying to blame the RSS here. There's a lot of politics rather than moral here. So I think that's really...
But even today, what surprises me is that everybody is still concentrating on the statements, that these provocative statements that these politicians or any authorities that make publicly. What about the offense that has been committed itself? What has been done about it? Nobody talks. And this happens every time probably a rape case becomes, makes it to the headlines, or any time when something like this comes up. what becomes important is not the offense itself, but the haywire that goes around it. So I think this should be changed in a way.
To take a leaf of all the points that have been made so far, I personally feel the situation as it is has gone much beyond the, let's say, the impasse that exists between patriarchy and matriarchy. Of course, the debates will be about that, and those narratives need to be mobilized in the wake of such incidents. But I personally feel unless we treat this as a gross violation of human right, it's my fundamental right to be able to roam around whenever, wherever I want without having to worry about anyone following me or harassing me for that matter. So, I mean, imagine if I can't as let's say, quote-unquote guy, walking on a street post 10 p.m., it's dark and someone's following me, there are three things that I would be doing. I'd be damn scared, I'd be conjuring contingency plans in my head, and third, I would be praying to God that something doesn't happen to me. So the fact is, unless we, and it's not about men or women, unless we as individuals, as citizens of this country, don't realize / understand the harrowing and the disgusting nature of what happened the other day, I don't think we can nip the issue in the bud. I seriously don't think so.
Also, something that I think that has come up is Bangalore as a city is being in the forefront more than the issue itself. People are talking about Bangalore being the next Delhi or Bangalore. It's not about the city, it's about the people everywhere in the country. It's about the patriarchy and how it's oppressing everyone, how it's oppressing men and how it's oppressing women. So I think that is a more important issue. I think the problem is that, you know, even recently when the hookah parlors were banned, the officials came out, women officials came out saying, you wouldn't believe it, there were girls standing there and, you know, doing hookah. The problem here is that you're a girl. If you're a girl, there's like a rule book that you have to follow. You are not allowed to do a set of things. And if you go beyond that, then it's your fault. There's no guarantee of your life or your body or anything. So ministers have gone out saying that, you know, the women were wearing short clothes, the women were drunk. So what? And there were women who were, by the way, who were dressed in traditional wear, as they call it, who were wearing salwars and were still groped. So how do you guarantee me that if my body is completely covered, that I will not be looked at by a pervert or that I will not be molested or groped?
Also, the fact that these sexist comments even come from celebrity status, like previously Mohammed Shami's wife was again targeted based on her religion, that as a religion Islam does not allow you to wear sleeveless. And again, why is that? That it's not like in molestation or rape cases that don't happen in villages. They do happen in villages where women are totally covered. So it's not based on what you're wearing, but it's the mentality of the men that needs to be corrected.
It just like takes us back to the Stone Age, doesn't it? I mean, we as a country talk about going cashless, putting laptops in every household, getting rid of computers, getting rid of whiteboards from classrooms, and yet as a nation we still remain sedated by this, might if I say, this patriarchal anesthesia. We just can't shrug it off our shoulders. So it shows us in very poor light.
When the politicians have the audacity to come out and make statements like that and nobody can openly oppose them or do anything about it, I think that itself speaks volumes about, you know, what is being done as a society. Because when these comments are being let off, then what's the guarantee that, you know, a person or a molester or a rapist is being taken under custody or anything is being done about the offense that he has committed? So.
And also these politicians are tagged as political leaders. They are supposed to lead us. Is this the mentality what we are encouraging? What people are going to be influenced by these mentality? We talk about coexistence. Where is the coexistence in reality?
It was always about the mindset that needs to be changed. It goes without saying now. But what I really feel is a woman should come out on her own. We should not, you know, blame the system all the time. I know this has happened. I mean, this has happened every year and this happens every day almost. But why women always look to the system which is already ruthless? Why not come on ourselves, you know? Like,
Okay, maybe if men are raised with as much as restrictions and moral policing that women are as girls, maybe if that happens, then you know. Just for that point that you said that why can't women, defend for themselves? I agree completely. But if you saw the footage of the girl who was groped in Kamnahalli, she was fighting back, and she was fighting back really hard. But she couldn't because there were two hefty men holding on to her, and she could not move. She was fighting with her last breath and trying to get out of it. And at the end, what happened? They groped her, they molested her, and they just threw her on the road. So what happened to her, defending herself? See, I understand that women need to defend themselves, but why is there a government? Why is there a police? Why is there a system? Why is there a law? Because they need to protect the women. The woman should feel confident enough to go to the police and put a complaint. Even now, none of the women have come out saying that there are no witnesses in the case for the New Year's thing, because women do not want to give out complaints because they're not comfortable, because they feel, even it's coming on to them that, wait, did I do something wrong? Was I the wrong person to go out there that night and actually, be there?
So, again, since we as a country tend to perpetuate this idea of patriarchy, and being a guy myself, I think going back to the roots, going back to upbringing and how this affects all of it, to put it in a very harsh manner, I would say when parents nurture their kids, nurture their boy, child, so to speak, they need to realize that while there's potential for a person to be an engineer, a scientist, a cricketer maybe, but they just can't, unfortunately, look away from the fact that there is also potential of someone becoming something that you wouldn't want your son to be. And hence, it's important that you sensitize them, you tell them that we live in a country where men and women are supposed to be equal, because simply it's 2017, come on. And they need to be treated equally and with respect, with dignity. And you can't just strip, and forget about stripping, a gender of its right. It's about stripping someone of dignity, integrity. How would you feel as a guy if you're just, slapped around on the street? It's exactly what happens, that day. You're just being groped. So why is it any different when it's happening to a girl and not happening to a boy? So that's what I meant when I started off. Like, you have to understand the ghastly nature of this incident. Otherwise, it's very difficult to tackle it.
And India is a country where we worship women. We have been taught to worship women. And talking about, again, even the laws, we are not gender neutral. When it comes to rape, when it comes to stalking or vigorous, they are not, the laws as itself are not. Section 354D of the Indian Penal Code, they talk where they are not gender neutral, where they're like, there's impunity to men and not to women. So again, we need to go back to our roots, change the laws, correct them, make them gender neutral, and then probably we'll see some hope further.
And I think the basic problem here is understanding what is the definition of molestation or rape. Because, for example, in a country like Sweden, rape is when a woman says no, but still is forced to. That no itself constitutes as rape, and henceforth the punishment is given. But India, we have all kinds of insensitive statements being made, all kinds of questions being questioned in the court of law, where in front of so many people, which women might not be comfortable with. Coming back to the point where Roshni was telling that, a lot of women don't come out to, give out complaints, or are not comfortable enough to talk about what happened with them.